Hello, everyone. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Matt. Matt is from Chicago in the USA. So let's see what Matt has to say. Enjoy the interview. Hello, Matt.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm just was trying to get my AirPods to like click in here. I'm doing well. How are you?
Amazing. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Thanks so much for taking the time for the interview today. Thank you.
Yeah, how did this get started?
We already started.
No, I mean like how did you decide this is something you wanted to do?
Yes, I always it's literally a dream come true. I always wanted to do a show where I could connect with people around the globe, where I could express myself, where I could let people express themselves as well. And I think this platform it's a beautiful gift that came out in 2020 when the world went upside down.
Yeah.
And I believe a lot of people, they found a way to express themselves. A lot of things that, were there hidden somewhere is just flourish. And I can't put myself in this category because it was something there hidden that somehow, I need to go through that challenging moment to get myself to this beautiful platform that I'm working right now. In a few days, I'm gonna reach 900 interviews so far. So it's
Whoa,
been amazing. Yeah.
how interesting.
Matt, so tell me, how is your day being so far?
It's been good. I mean, Chicago is has been really chilly up until recently, and so today it's like really sunny and beautiful outside, and so that's amazing.
London.
We like long for the sun for so many months, and then when it appears it's like, oh my goodness, it's wonderful.
Yes, London. It feels the same as well. For the last week, we've been blessed with the weather. Like it's been quite warm. I've seen people, just wearing t-shirt around the streets. So
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen that for a quite few months. So yeah, it's been cool. I think spring is here.
Oh, delicious.
So Chicago is the place where you're born and raised.
No, I was born and raised in South Carolina
Hmm.
until I was about 22. Then I went to graduate school in Atlanta, and then I moved to England for a year, and then I moved back to the United States to Jacksonville, Florida for 12 years. And then 10 years ago, I moved to Chicago.
And so you lived in England. Where about in England? In London.
No, I lived in a county in the Northwest called Shropshire.
Okay.
There's a little market town very close to the Welsh border called Whitchurch, Whitchurch, and it's about 15 miles south of Chester,
Hmm.
45 minutes south of Liverpool.
I see.
And it was Shropshire's a very sort of rural farming. I mean, I think the largest town in Shropshire is like maybe it was would it be like Stoke-on-Trent or something like that,
Yeah.
maybe, or Shrewsbury, maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
So anyway, it was not. I went to London quite a bit and did a good bit of traveling, but it was sort of the Welsh border farming area.
I see. And why Chicago?
Chicago, I moved here 10 years ago because I had finished law school and I knew that I didn't want to practice law. I didn't want to take the bar exam. And a friend forwarded me this position description for a large national faith-based LGBT equality organization that was working primarily in the United Methodist Church in the United States to bring full inclusion for LGBT people in the life of the church so that they could be married and also ordained. And I had been a pastor in my 20s and very, very early 30s, and then quit being a pastor because I needed to come out as a gay man. And like those two things were mutually exclusive at that time and still are in some areas.
I see. So nowadays you can practice your being a pastor and being a gay man. You can express the way you are in the religion.
Oh, well, it depends on what denomination you're part of. But the United Methodist Church right now, which is the one I was a part of formerly, is currently engaged in a global denominational split. So they're sort of divorcing internally over the issue. But there are some mainline Protestant denominations in the US, the Episcopal Church, the Lutheran Church, the Presbyterian Church, and it's a couple other smaller ones where you can be openly gay or lesbian or trans or what have you, and be also ordained and serve churches.
Amazing. Okay, so through the journey, I'm going to explore a little bit more about your journey as a pastor, about yourself and your point of views as well. Okay?
Sure.
Right. Should I call you Matt or Matthew?
Matt. All my friends call me Matt.
Okay, Matt. Are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and to share your point of views?
Okay, let's do it.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So this is my best friend. Okay. From the fun questions. I'm just going to play a song now just for us to relax a bit before the first question, okay?
Okay.
Let's do it. Matt, during the journey, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about for some reason, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
Of course, yeah.
First question for you is, what was the biggest punishment have you ever received?
Well, there's two things really. One was, I had built a career as a pastor in the United Methodist Church throughout my 20s and kind of built an identity in that area. And then having to leave it was both a necessary thing, but it also felt like punishment to me. It was sort of happened at the same time as I was coming out. Had been recently through a divorce from my ex-wife at the time. My parents didn't deal well with me coming out. And so it was really like I sort of, blew up one life and had to sort of start and rebuild another. So it felt, although it ended up being very liberating and it was, it ended up being a very beautiful experience, the pathway to that felt at times like punishment, even though it maybe wasn't. So I guess I would leave it with that. Probably that might be the most what felt like punishment. I don't know that life ever really punishes in terms of, punishes you like you're a bad boy, but life does, choices and certain circumstances result in consequences or reactions that can feel certainly like punishment. I mean, if you commit a crime and you go to jail, that's punishment. But I haven't experienced things as punishment as much in my life as life showing me that the direction I was heading was not the right one. Mm-hmm. And it's hard not to see it as punishment sometimes. It's hard to see painful experiences as guidance or failures as guidance. And so, I think that's what I would have to say about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a good example, actually. Sometimes a punishment can be seen different ways. You know what I mean? Somehow you are affected. Somehow it affects your life. Somehow you are going through a difficult journey, and it's based on a punishment. That's what I believe as well.
I mean, honestly, even let's say you went to jail over some wrongdoing, it could be the very thing you needed to turn your life around and to realize that the choices you were making were not consistent with a well-being and flourishing and good stuff,
Absolutely. Next question. Let's do it. Okay, Matt, next question for you is, tell us something that you have done that you feel very proud of yourself.
Gosh, well, I feel very proud that I have a 20-year-old son who is well adjusted and emotionally healthy. And although he has his struggles, he's a good, kind, compassionate, fun, interesting person. And so I'm proud of that, who he has become.
Wow.
And I'm really proud of the work that I did as executive director of this LGBT equality organization. But it was a stressful, difficult job. But the outcomes of the work that we did while I was there had substantial impact and helped, I think, to open things up for LGBT people in ways that make it better for folks, and especially kids, in places rural and other areas where they still need that help desperately.
I see. And that's work that's you work every single day. It's like organization that is do every single day work. So just events through the week or through the month. How does it work?
When I was working in that position, I mean, I traveled about 60 or 70% of the time. And so I would fly all over the US, speaking in churches, and fundraising and things like that. We also partnered with civil rights organizations in the US, like the Human Rights Campaign and other state-based LGBT equality organizations, to help counter anti-LGBT discrimination legislation that was coming up at the local level, but also the federal level. So like anti-trans bathroom bills, religious freedom laws that were happening here 5, 6, 7 years ago. Things are still bubbling up even to this day. So we would mobilize voices of faith to counter the pernicious legislation that was coming up in civil and in localities and at the national level.
I see. Next question. Let's do it. Before the next question, tell me what's the best part of being a pastor? What do you like the most about it? And also, there's always a challenging part. What that would be?
Well, I'm not a pastor anymore. I'm executive director of Episcopal Charities, which is a grant-making foundation in the city of Chicago. So I haven't actually been a pastor since 2009.
Okay.
But I do speak in churches still. And so I can tell you from that experience, I was a pastor for about 8 years. Did you say the thing I liked most about it?
Yeah.
The thing that I liked most about it was, there sometimes would occur in like a Sunday morning service, during my preaching or some other moment, where you would realize that you had reached a poignant place in what was being said or experienced, and that everybody was there together experiencing something of the same thing, something that was meaningful and moving, and you could kind of feel that presence sort of land in the space. And so those were very, very beautiful moments. They didn't always happen on Sunday mornings. Sometimes they might happen in a hospital or in someone's home. But in sort of Christian circles, we might call it grace.
I see.
That was really my favorite. And then what did you say was it? What was one of the challenges?
Yeah.
I mean, probably just dealing with people. I mean, they're on the one hand, the most beautiful thing about it, and then on the other hand, as you know, and we all know, people can be quite challenging. And we bring our whole selves to all of, to our lives. And so at times people were, mean, awful, just they were being triggered by something, and their old wounds were flaring up, and they would lose the ability to be rational, kind, compassionate people, and would get defensive or resentful or and aggressive. And so whether that occurs in the church or whether it occurs in my life now, or wherever it occurs, it's sort of a pain in the ass. You know what I mean?
All right. Next question is, what is the first thing that you think about when you wake up?
Oh,
Usually.
probably coffee.
Okay.
Um, probably coffee, and that's I mean, that would be the G-rated version of the show at this point.
Do you consider yourself to be more of a day or night person?
You know, if I didn't need to go to bed early to get up and go to work and do all of that, I would just I would probably stay up till 2 or 3 in the morning and then sleep till 10.
I see. All right.
So I get energy at night.
Uh-huh. Okay. Next question. Let's do it. There you go. I can see some moves coming out now.
Mhm.
Right. Next question is, where do you want to be in 10 years' time from now?
Where do I want to be in 10 years time from now? Oh my goodness. I would like to have a career in executive coaching, which is something I'm hoping to transition into in the next few years. Making, you know, enough money to, you know, do the traveling, which is what I would really like to do more of. I do a good amount of traveling, but I'd like to do more of that. And if it's in the cards for me, I would love to have a long-term relationship that, you know, is right and the right thing. And healthy.
Do you see yourself living in Chicago for a long while?
No, I would like, actually, that's a good sort of addendum to that question, which is that I've lived here for 10 years and I would really love to move to like South Florida, to like Miami or something like that. I love the sun and the heat, and so I'd love to be able to work remotely full time in like an executive coaching position, and then move to like, yeah, South Miami, and travel a bit and just lead a little more. By that time, I'll be in my, you know, mid to late 50s, and so it would be nice to have a little less of the weather to contend with for like 8 months out of the year. It's so cold and snowy and blah blah blah. So
And all your family, include your son, they are back in South Carolina, you said, yeah? Or North Carolina?
yeah, my parents are still alive and they live in South Carolina, and my son also lives in South Carolina. Yeah.
I see. Okay. Ready for another one?
Sure.
Sure. I like the way. Sure. Let's do it.
Sure, let's do it.
Before the next one, tell me, being a gay guy, yeah, and you mentioned that you were married as well to a woman before. Tell me your journey as a gay guy. Did you always knew that you were gay? There was a point that you kind of you know, you work it out, but you couldn't come out? Walk me through a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, so I grew up in the 1980s and 90s in South Carolina, which is in at that time the religious South. And there were no examples of gay men really anywhere to be found, even in the media. The only thing that sometimes would get seen in like on the news would be like a New York City Pride Parade, and drag queens, and that, you know, to people who were very insulated, religious, and who'd never seen anything, that wasn't the sort of I needed examples of like sort of ordinary living gay men that were just doing their normal lives. But that wasn't around, and certainly it wasn't encouraged. And in fact, it was you know, it was absolutely unthinkable, really. So when I've been asked that question, did you always know? I think that yes, you somewhere in your psyche and your heart you do know, but because of repression and the lack of safety around any of all of that. For me, it did not come to sort of I didn't come to awareness of that until I was in my early 20s. And I was married at the time. By the time I sort of realized fully that, like, oh, this is something that I really have to deal with, and it's not solved by getting married to a woman, that's for sure. So yeah, I sometimes when I sort of encounter younger gay men who have had, either from a different region in the country or because times have really changed so rapidly for gay people, who were able to come out and say at 18 or 16 or 20 or whatever, I'm so happy for them, and at the same time wish that that had been the case for me. I came out like at around 32. So, I'm glad I came out when I did, but it would have been nice to have a sort of developmental period in adolescence that didn't need to occur in my 30s, but rather could have occurred like, 18 to 25, like everybody else's does.
How is being a gay dad?
Gosh, how is being a gay dad? I mean, I love it. I have a really close relationship with my son. I talk to him several times a week. He was here a few weeks ago visiting. He's 20 years old. He's been coming to Chicago since he was like 10. So he's really acquainted with my gay life. He met my ex-boyfriend, and has met other guys. He knows my friends. So, like, I mean, at New Year's, not this past New Year's, but the previous one, we drove down to Miami together from South Carolina at New Year's, and hung out with one of my best friends who's also a gay man, and we went to the gay beach, and he was kind of looking around trying to find guys for my friend Carlos, who he thought were good matches. He was like, so what about that one over there? What about this one? And he was like, no, or like, yeah, oh yeah, you've got it now. That's my type, So, and we do a lot of joking about it. So it really has turned into, it's like, a blessing. Like, I don't hide anything from, I mean, I have boundaries, but I don't, it's normal. It's great.
Amazing. Very good. Next question is, what was your favorite part about school?
Well, let's see. I did graduate school, and then I went to law school, and then I had my like secondary schooling. So I would just say, generally speaking, my favorite thing about school was, diving into material, intellectual material that I found stimulating and compelling. I particularly liked sort of interacting with courses in philosophy where I could see that the trajectory of Western thinking could sort of see the full sort of scope of that, the worldview, and how that's shifted over time, and then see the way in which like other things paralleled that, like art and literature and cultural events during that time periods. Things had a remarkable degree of like correlation. So like, for example, when the Copernican revolution took place, where we went, from realizing that we were the center of the universe to the sun being the center of the galaxy. The same thing was beginning to happen in people's and sort of literature and the arts, and in a philosophical sense. So that would take a while to unpack. I'm not going to do that. But I think I really just loved intellectual inquiry about things that I was fascinated by, and learning itself. I've always been a reader and a learner, and can be kind of intense that way sometimes.
Amazing. Next question, Matt. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Next question is, what is the worst thing someone can say on a first date?
Oh my gosh, I've been on so many bad ones. I don't know. I mean, I suppose there's some things sort of funny, and awful that they could say, like, I can't think of anything. I don't remember anything that anyone has said like the first thing. I mean, obviously, I don't want to be insulted at any time during the date. Probably, I've landed on dates though where I knew, like within the first minute of sitting down to interact with someone, where I knew it pretty quickly that like, this is going to be such a dud. How can I get out of this? Where either I was going to have to drive the whole thing myself, like conversationally, where I was just like, didn't have give me something, or oh, you know what it is? You know what would really turns me off right away is complaining.
Yeah.
Negative complaining about like anything, like the restaurant or whatever, or just a negative vibe to start right out just makes me, I just am like, this is not working. That's not gonna work. So, or someone who is not aware that they're with another person and talks incessantly about themselves and doesn't have the presence of mind to say like, so tell me about you, or like, it's like, oh, I am over here, thanks. So unbridled narcissism, I don't know.
One person to go on a date with you, what this person must have?
To go on a date, or for the date to be successful?
No, to go on a date with you.
I'm just going to be really honest, even though it sounds awful and superficial. To go on a date, I need to be attracted to them.
Okay.
And attraction is obviously much deeper than just the physical appearance.
Yeah.
But it starts with physical appearance. So if I feel physically and sexually attracted to them, then I will go on a date and then see what else is there.
Absolutely. 3 questions left for you. Let's do it.
Okay, let's keep going. We're on a roll here.
Next question is, good question. If someone gave you an envelope, with your death date inside of it, would you open it or not, and why?
Whoa. I think I would open it. Yeah. And the reason being that I would have some certainty about how much time I had left. And then I think I would be able to sort of structure my life to that point in a way that, made sure that like, okay, I've got 2 years left. What am I going to do with these 2 years? And I think that would be different than if I get an envelope that says I die at 84. If I die in 2 years, like I probably don't care that much about executive coaching at that point. I don't know exactly what I would care about in terms of like my professional life. It would just, I think it would radically reorient my thinking about the way I do, probably where I place my concerns, depending on whether it's a short or a longer term.
Interesting. I will feel very tempted to open, but I don't think I'll be able to. I'll be so scared. Say that, let's say the same person come up to you and say, okay, Matt, I would like to tell your future. I'd like to, know what I mean? They have superpower of telling your future. Would you like to hear it or not? Would you prefer to avoid?
Well, it depends on how they talk. Like if they were telling me like, these are the things, I see these things in your future, but you have the ability to collaborate with the universe on whether or not they come true. In other words, if it was like purely deterministic, where it was like they were telling me like, this is going to happen to you and you don't have any choice in the matter, then I don't think I would want to know. But if it was told to me in a way that's like, these are the paths that are open to you, and they're largely determined by how you want to interact with life. And one of them, these are very possible. You know, this future is very possible for you, and it's open to you. And so you need to shift, you know, align your life in a way, move your life in a way that will help with that unfold. I think that could be really useful, because then you, it sort of could be potentially hopeful. It could also be like, here are some pitfalls to avoid.
I see. Okay. 2 questions left. Let's do it.
Okay.
Before the next question, when I was checking your profile, there was 2 words there that got my attention. It says there, spirituality thirsty. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Tell me about it.
Spiritually thirsty?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I was a pastor, as I mentioned. I've always been, as I've mentioned in another comment too, I've always been intellectually curious and driven and passionate about things that I find compelling. And so spiritual things, which is to say deeply meaningful things, have always captured my imagination and my attention, because they, for me, have filled me at times with delight and wonder and awe and beauty and grace. And so I guess to be spiritually thirsty is also to yearn for moments of deep and profound meaning and purpose and connection with other people, and connection to the most beautiful things that life has to offer as a human being.
See. All right. Next question is, what does your best friends, what do they do that comforts you the most?
That comforts me the most?
Yeah.
Well, I have probably a handful, maybe less than 10, but more than 5, of what I would call like extremely close friends that live here in Chicago, but also in different places around the country. And the marker for that closeness is determined by the fact that we know each other very deeply. And so I know them and their history and who they are and their feelings and so we have a kind of honesty about who we are with each other that is beautiful and compelling. So I would say that's a criteria for me for getting that close with people, that they become like almost like family members. And the comfort that they give to me is that, but it's also related to that, which is that we love each other. And so, you know, if I got sick or if I needed them, and this has happened before, where, you know, I was in a bad place in my life and my friends came to me, you know, were there. And I think that's the comfort, is knowing that you have sort of a chosen family of people that are on your team who you know love you for exactly who you are and want the best for you.
See, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we don't choose close best friends. They come along, and when the connection is there, that's what's happening. It's like a relationship, yeah. You don't go around saying you're gonna be my best friend. It doesn't work like that. When the connection is there, that's it. Even though sometimes you crush, but it crush for a good reason sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yes, I think the old phrase that was used, like soulmate, they used to use that expression to describe like your one and only or your romantic partner. I don't see it that way. I think we have many soulmates that we come across our over the course of our lives, and it's those people with whom we have deep connection that are the possible deeply close friends that we make, and relationships too. So they're soulmates. They're like your kindred. They're like your family in the universe.
Absolutely. Ready for the last one, Matt?
Yep, I'm ready.
Last question. Let's do it. But before the last question, as you are a former pastor, yeah, you are connected with religion. in your opinion, tell me nowadays, at the world we live right now, what's your understand or your take regarding, religion with LGBTQ plus community, God? What for you? Do you think that nowadays, people like in our community, people they are more connect with religion, or they are, they are still, going apart? What you are understanding?
In the LGBTQ
Q
community?
plus community, yes.
Um, I think that religion, has largely, because of the history of exclusion that has gone on in most um, bodies of religious faith, which is not just Christianity, but all of them, that most LGBTQ people have not only felt excluded by religion, but also injured by it, have experienced like trauma as a result. And I don't see like on any noticeable or scale a return to religion on the part of LGBTQ people. And I think it's sad because religious truth is something that no matter if it's Muslim or Christian or Jewish or whatever religious tradition, is something like deeply archetypal that's been born out of human beings themselves over time. And so it isn't a question to me about whether these things are true. And so it's sad when certain human beings don't get to experience the beauty of those things because of the reasons we've mentioned. I think that's kind of the state of things. That's the state of things within the Christian church. I can't really speak, to the other religious traditions, but yeah.
I see. Right. Last question is, what is the
Yep.
most beautiful thing someone has ever done for you? Oh, if I could go through your thoughts right now, so I can see so many things going through your thoughts.
I don't have a thing. There've been lots of beautiful things, but I can think of a few people over my life who have given me their time, and friendship and in support and a lot of time. That was really deeply meaningful to me, and in whatever way, whether it was fun or just standard friendship, or whether it was like a spiritual relationship that was, really helped to form me into the person that I am. So I think that's what I would say is just the real beauty of time well spent with other people. And those are only a few people where you feel deeply known and loved.
Absolutely. Good question. Good on. Right, it's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to give away some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking, okay?
Okay.
So, I hope you are enjoying the interview. Before we do the word association game, don't forget to give a like, don't forget to share this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Just click on the button right there. Thank you so much and enjoy the word association game. Let's start with money.
One word?
Yeah.
Oh, riches.
Family.
Difficult.
One word for love.
Beauty.
Life.
Life.
Yeah.
Joy.
Sex. Your face. Just think. You're like,
I mean, just like extraordinary, Okay.
Okay. One word for politics.
In a bad state of disrepair.
Religion.
Oh, a treasure.
Fear.
Fear?
Yeah.
Fear, one word that comes to mind when I think of fear is unnecessary.
Friendship.
Friendship is so critically valuable and sustaining.
Desire.
Oh God, desire. Desire. It's just what it means to be human.
Regret.
Regret is so tender.
One word for success.
Achievement.
One word for wish.
Wish. I don't have a word for that.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
Happiness.
Happiness. Momentary.
Like that. One word for Chicago.
Oh. Beautiful.
One word for South Carolina.
Intense.
Interesting. USA, one word.
Complicated.
One word for former pastor.
Generous.
Okay. And the last one now, God, one word.
God is whatever anyone conceives of that. That God is really everything.
Good. Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your lovely son for a coffee, and I'm going to ask him, what is the most beautiful thing about your dad, and what's something that he still needs to work on, to improve on? What he would say.
I really don't know what he would say. Maybe he would say, the most beautiful thing might be that I care so much.
Mm-hmm.
I think he might say that. He might say any number of other things. I have no clue. And then the other thing was, what do I need? Does Dad still need to work on?
Yeah.
I don't know what he would say to that. Probably being concerned about his well-being in a way that sometimes can be overbearing, or I can impose my interests onto him, I think, at times when I need to just relax and let his life flow the way it needs to. And so I need to not be as controlling as I can be sometimes.
See, that's what dad's for.
Yeah, I have to be
their job.
aware of it.
Let's play now, Matt, in the magic box, and you can ask me a question.
Are you going to give me do I make up the questions?
Yeah, you can ask me a question now. Any question.
Oh. When did you move to London, or have you lived there your whole life?
Okay, good question. So I moved to London. Okay, I left Brazil. I'm originally from Brazil. When I was 19 years old, I always had a dream to live in a country where I could speak English every single day. So when I was 19, I had the opportunity to live in Portugal, for a few years. So I was living in Portugal for a few years, and after almost 5 years, I moved to England, to London. So I've been in London Actually, most of my life, I moved here when I was in 2007. So it's been 18 years since I've been living in London. And I live a dream. I live, I live in a place where I can speak English every single day. It's so funny and interesting sometimes how life takes you in a direction that you're not expecting. You know, back in Brazil, I never thought one day I would live in London. I always wanted to live, but back in Brazil, South America, we have this America dream. Yeah, everyone wants to move to the US. Yeah, so I was included in that. I want to live in the US, in New York City, or anywhere else where I could speak English every single day. Long story short, life introduced me to, you know, to Portugal and you know, to London, to England, and I'm so glad to be. I'm meant to be here. When I think about, you know, how happy I am to be here in London, it's I'm meant to be here, and I feel very grateful that life brought me here because I found my place, I found my home. So yeah, that's how my journey started, leaving the UK.
So cool.
Yeah, yeah. It's I'm so grateful to be here. It's a great place to be.
And you're there for the king's coronation and all that business that just happened.
Of course, I was there. I was there as well. I wish. So yes, I was. Yes, it's been a lovely weekend. I think it was so nice to see, you know, the nation celebrating, you know, the coronation, and it was so lovely to see around the streets, you know, the flags, people cheering up, you know, people wearing the t-shirts, and I think it's been great. It's great to be here. It was great to be in a city where, you know, this historic moment was happening. My God, it's never gonna happen in our time life. You know, it's never gonna happen anymore. Like, no, actually, it might. It might when Prince
Yeah.
William. Oh yeah, it might.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like in 20 years' time, I'm sure you're gonna be able to still, you know, be able. I hope in 20 years' time I'll be invited for it. I hope I'll be there.
Yes. Your podcast will have gotten so big that they can't not invite you. They have to.
Absolutely, and actually, somebody once asked me, William, if you could have someone in the magic box, who that would be? And I said Prince William. I'd love to have Prince William here. You know, actually, we were born the same year, me and him. He's 1982. He's June, and I'm in November. So. Yes, I'd love to have him. We never know. We might see have him here. Maybe for his coronation. Maybe, hopefully.
Maybe so. But you're also a Scorpio too, huh?
I'm Scorpio. Are you as well?
Yep.
You know what? I'll tell you something, Matt. When you said about controlling about your son, I almost asked you if you're a Scorpio because you know Scorpio, yeah? One of the
Yes.
downsides. Which day?
Yeah. November 13th.
Very close. I'm November 17th.
Oh, wow. Okay. My son is October 25th, so he's also a Scorpio, but he's on the sort of beginning, on the cusp, right after previous sign.
My godson is 26th of October. Wow, very close as well. Matt, did you have a good time?
Yeah, this has been fun. It's been lovely to meet you. And of course, like questions like these always cause you to do thinking about your own life that you don't ordinarily do. So that's been good.
Thanks so much. Thanks for taking the time for the interview. Thanks so much as well for being so open. And as when I approached you on social media, straight away you said, yes, let's do it. So yeah, we literally made memories now. Yeah.
Yes, we did. And I look forward to like connecting again sometime.
Absolutely. When you come down to London, let me know. Or when I'm in, you know, in Chicago.
Yeah.
I never been to Chicago actually. I never been in Chicago before. So
well, the summer in Chicago is better than any city in the world. It's so amazing here with the lake and everything. So if you come to visit, you know, let me know.
Absolutely, I will for sure. But before you go, if you can share a positive message or something that you live by.
I would say something that I've learned from experience is that no matter what's going on in your life, how hard it is or how beautiful it is in any given moment, because life is both, that, you know, a daily practice of gratitude, of finding things, there's always something to be grateful for, no matter how bad things are. And that mere practice of naming of the things can actually shape your brain and give you reorient your day and give you a new way to walk through the world. So I would say find ways to be grateful, because there are ways. You just have to look around.
Totally. And if you start to write down everything that you are grateful for, you're gonna feel bad or
You
feeling bad.
will.
Yeah.
And then if you do it every day, it's even some of the like neuroscientists and neurologists have shared that it actually changes your brain. So I'm a big believer in gratitude practices. So that's my message. Just find something to be grateful for.
Let's practice this every single day. It makes a difference. Thanks so much regarding to your family, to your son, and we keep in touch, okay? Thank you very much.
You.
Take
Bye.
care.
Thank you. It's been fun. Bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.